Huh, my mic was muted, so hopefully you can actually hear me and see me now. So let's start over. Hello, friends. Happy Friday. I am so happy to be here with you all. I'm so glad that you're taking part of your Friday evening to spend it with me. I feel so honored. If you are watching me live, take a second, let me know in the comments that you are joining. If you'd like, you can share where you're joining from. And if you're watching the replay, I'm going to keep checking back. So comment, let me know that you're watching the replay. Let me know where you're joining us from. I love to know where everyone is joining in from. So it looks like we've got a few comments saying hi. Joanna says, I was just about to ask about that. So hopefully things are all better now. Debbie said, I cannot hear you. I hope you can hear me now. And we have hello, Jessica from Kentucky. That is from Chris. And Rosemary says hi from Tennessee. And Shelly says me too. I think that was referring to my mishap of starting out with the microphone off. So Joanna says hi from Connecticut. And Sonia says hi, everyone from Ontario. And Chris says, I can hear you. Perfect. Thank you so much, Chris. You're the best. I don't know what I would do without you all. So here we go. Checking in with you all. It's been a minute since I've had a chance to come live. August has been kind of a whirlwind of a lot of things happening. And I am, the kids are back in school now. That was one of the things. And there were other things, but we did some traveling. We took a couple of little quick, family trips to spend some time with the kids before they started 7th grade. And I can't even believe that I have 12-year-olds that are in 7th grade, but it's going to be a different world in 6th grade. The teachers seem to have a little less flexibility, we'll call it that. So it's going to be a fun year. Debbie says, can hear you now from stormy Pennsylvania. Yeah, we weren't sure if we were going to get those storms that were on the other side of the storm. So it looked pretty terrible out, but I don't think that we're getting them here. So I hope you're safe. I hope you keep power and all of those things. And we've got a hi from Wyoming, and that is from Shelly. So I'm so glad you're all watching. So I wanted to check in with you all because, as I said, it's been a minute and I've missed you all. So here we are, Friday night, hanging out together. I hope you brought your yarn, some project, something to work on, or maybe a favorite snack or drink. I love getting together on the Zooms because we get to see each other and be face to face. But this is fun too because you can be in your most comfy clothes, in your comfy spot, in your favorite spot on the couch. And hi from Sylvia, and happens fast. That came from Shelly. That was from Shelly. Good, good, good. All right, so the gang's all here, and welcome to join me. This will be as a replay, so if you have to hop off to take care of something, you can always come back and watch later. So I have my little Fri-YAY icon. So I have something new and exciting to share with you. I am going to be a guest again with the lovely Paulette from Nitty Gritty Yarn Girl on her Monday evening live that she does called Twisted Stitches. That's going to be this coming Monday. So today's Friday the 8th, so it'll be on the 11th. Same time that we are starting now, so it's 8 o'clock Eastern, and that'll be on her Facebook page and also on her YouTube channel. Are the two best places to watch that. And we're going to be talking about some upcoming projects that I have, and I'm excited to share all of that good stuff with you all. And we are full swing ahead, everything going beautifully with our Conquer Cable Knitting Workshop. This was hosted with my dear friend Erin from Crafty Housewife Yarns, and we featured Geller yarn is the yarn used for the project. I'm going to make me smaller so you can see that better. So Conquer Cable Knitting, it's not too late to sign up. And if you are interested, we're doing this one as a 5-day challenge. And today was day 3. and I'll talk a little bit more about what we've done so far and some of the things that are still yet to come. But everything is recorded, it is online, it's in my online classroom. So you don't have to worry about it fitting into your schedule. If you've ever struggled with cable knitting, if you've ever wanted to learn cable knitting, if you've ever wanted to learn to make reversible cables so that your projects are beautiful on both sides, then this workshop is for you. And this is going to be available to purchase in the future as well too. So if now is not quite the right time for you because life is a little bit hectic still, you can purchase it now and lock in the current price, and then you can watch it. You'll have ongoing access to all of the lessons. And the way that it's set up is you get a couple of videos to watch from me each day for 5 days. So you can take it nice and slow and at your own pace and not worry about rushing through it. Have it as a reference, as a resource, so that you can come back and watch it at another time. If you get stuck with something, it's there to rescue you. We are diving into cable knitting charts too, and that has been fun. And we've got Laurel is joining us from Southeast Michigan, so I'm glad that you're all here. Thank you for joining. And Laurel is joining us, watching us on YouTube. So the Conquer Cable Knitting Workshop is still ongoing. Tomorrow is day 4. Plenty of time to catch up, and it includes 2 projects, and I'll show you some of our students' projects too. And then we also have, I'll show you, let me hide that banner so you can see all the things. And I'm going to hide me for a second, but I'm still here. So just some of the things that we have been learning just in 3 days of the workshop. On day 1, we started out with a solid foundation for knitting cables, because even if you have knit cables before, I find I always, I look at myself and I try to be a lifelong learner. And I always find that whenever I watch a different instructor teaching a topic, I pick up tips and tricks and different things. And maybe you've never done reversible cables. Maybe you have, struggled with the cable knitting charts, but you have knit cables from written instructions. All of that stuff is baked into the workshop for you. And the videos are generally pretty short, bite-sized videos to digest, except for the ones where you're watching me knit. And I do it that way because we've all searched on YouTube to watch videos to how to do a specific stitch, but in my outlook, in my opinion, there's nothing quite like actually watching someone knit the full sequence of a repeat, the one stitch after the other, and how they lead into each other. So when I do for a pattern, if I do like a watch me knit type video, a stitch by stitch tutorial, I like to show you at least one full repeat, and I like to show it to you once with the stitches knit using the continental method, where the yarn is held in my left hand, and also with the yarn held in my right hand for English style knitting. So you get to see it both ways, different perspectives and all of that. But otherwise the videos are generally pretty short. And I let you know how long each video is so that you can pick and choose which one you might watch and know whether you have time to actually sit down to watch the full segment through. Because if you have a half hour, you don't want to start a video that's an hour long and then have to pick up back in the middle or try and figure out where you were up to. But you might have time, maybe to sit and watch a 10-minute video. And the nice thing about everything being pre-recorded is you can watch it as often as you want, as often as you need to. There is none of that, if you're taking a class in person and you're struggling a little bit to understand something, you don't have to, feel like you are bothering an instructor and asking them to show you something again and again. You can pause, rewind, repeat, watch it on demand anytime. So day 1, we talked about a solid foundation for cable knitting, which is great for beginners and also those who are a little bit more advanced. And we talked about cables 101, kind of the basics of how they work. And I shared my favorite tips and tricks for remembering which way is which when you're knitting a cable. You're knitting the stitches out of order, and it can get confusing. You can easily forget whether you're supposed to hold the stitches in the front or the back. And so I've got tips for that. And we talked about the different types of cable needles and tools for cable knitting. And we started with a practice project, which was my East End ear warmer pattern, and learned stitch by stitch how to make cables that cross to the right and cables that cross to the left. And on day 2, we talked about the magic of reversible cables, and I stitch by stitch kind of walked you through my reversibility cowl pattern. That's the pink one that you keep seeing. And we also talked about reversible cables that are they are reversible, but they're different in the sense that on one side of your fabric you have one type of stitch, and on the other side of your fabric you can have something completely different. And I talked about that with you a bit. So, and then today's videos, we talked about complex cable knitting charts and my favorite ways to stay on track and to decode them and visually understand them better. And I also introduced how to knit a cable that has a purl stitch incorporated as part of it. So I'm back on the screen. I just didn't want to hide the text there from you. So we still have more to come. We're going to talk about more tips on tricks for staying on track. We're going to talk about how to easily count the number of rows that you have worked in between your cable crossings. And my favorite thing, and I'm saving the best for last, on Sunday, I am teaching you how to fix a cable that zigged instead of zagged, is how I like to say it. But if you intended for the cable to twist to the right, but you accidentally made a cable that twists to the left. So I'm going to show you how you can actually drop down, fix those cable stitches without spending hours ripping out your work and redoing it, so you can learn how to fix those stitches. So this is the East End earwarmer on Shelley's needles, and she was so excited to share that she has started, and she used a natural color because she wanted the headband project and the cowl to work together. And I'm so proud of her beautiful cables. I hope you are too. And then Shelley, I don't know if she finished the ear warmer, but she cast on the cowl to give it a try. And you can see there in the picture, you can see that there's some seed stitch in between the cables, and you can see that there's cable work on both sides. So instead of having that less pleasant, we'll say, or less attractive back side of cable knitting that we're all used to seeing, you'll see this, gorgeous Afghan, let's say, is a great example, or a scarf that's knit flat, and one side has these beautiful cables and the other side not so beautiful. And so with this technique, you can actually have a fabric with cables on both sides of your fabric. And Shelley says, yes, I did. I think that means yes, you finished the ear warmer. And that makes me so happy because one of the things that I love building in to my workshops and my courses and my lessons is something to give you a quick win, an easy way to practice the technique without having to cast on, say, a giant blanket or a big, long, giant scarf, just to get the basics down. Because when you have these big, gigantic projects, it can be so overwhelming, especially if it's something that is new to you. So a lot of, instructors start with big things. I don't. I like the small. I like the quick win. I think that is so important for encouragement, for motivation, and it makes it easier for me to teach it to you too, because you're not as intimidated by all the stuff. So we also have Kathy got started after watching the class, and this is her East End ear warmer, and she was excited to share that she is understanding things more now, and that makes me so happy and so proud to see that. I really love when you share your projects with me. I love to see your progress, and I love to help you if you have questions when you're taking one of my workshops. That's what I am here for. Reach out to me so that I can help get you back on track if there's something in the instructions that you are not understanding, or maybe something, in a video that wasn't 100% clear. If I can, adjust that in any way, I love to do that. So that is about what I have to share with you for the Conquer cable knitting. And like I mentioned, if you have ever struggled with cables, if you would like to learn more about cables, different techniques, fixing your cables, all of that stuff, you can still sign up for the class. You'll have access to, if you signed up today, you'll have access to the first 3 videos right away. And then we have 2 more sets of lessons coming tomorrow and Sunday, but you'll have ongoing access to everything. So you don't have to feel like you're behind or anything like that. This is not a race. It's not even, a marathon. It is useful, helpful videos and tutorials and tips and tricks and things to help you improve your knitting. So that's Conquer Cable Knitting. And you can do this with your own yarn. You don't need a kit from Crafty Housewife Yarns, but you can, if you love the yarn that I used in the pink cowl, the Versatility cowl that is from Gallery Yarns. It's a yarn called Wow. It's worsted 1-ply wool. And I had spoken with Erin, so she does still have, I don't know if she has any more of the full kits available, but if you wanted to purchase the yarn from her, you absolutely could, or you could use yarn from your stash and join us that way too. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to chat with you all about, I am going to advance my slide and hide and go like that so you can see all the stuff. All right, quick sip of drink of my coffee. Okay, so the Sea Glass Memories knit along. So that's the shawl that I am wearing. Let's see, so you can kind of see it better. So it has this beautiful lace detail on it. I'm gonna, you know what, I'm gonna take it off and I'm gonna show it because those pictures are not that big. So I want you to see the beautiful detail of this and Mindy's beautiful yarn. So this is, it starts out with just a few stitches and it gradually increases and keeps on going. And then we get some nice soothing stockinette stitch, but we do continue the lace. And it's a really fun project. My testers are having so much fun with it. They keep talking about how easy it is to knit, and they have talked about how they still have yarn left even after they reached the number of rows that are in the pattern. It's an easy, simple 4-row repeat, so you can make it as small or as large as you would like. And you can just keep knitting. And if you would like a big, giant, cozy, oversized shawl, you can knit it from 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn, 3 skeins. You can go until you're tired of knitting. I don't know if we ever really get tired of knitting, but maybe we get tired of projects. So until you're tired of this project. And I have some of my wonderful testers' work in progress photos to share with you. And that pattern, there is currently a pre-order available for it right now on Ravelry, which means that if you wanted to purchase the pattern, you can head over to Ravelry and there's a code, you can get a discount on it because it's a pre-order. And at that point, what you'll receive is a PDF that has the cover, it has the inspiration, and it has all of the details and specs. So you can go stash diving or yarn shopping and get everything that you need in order before we actually cast on for the knit along. We're hosting, Mindy from Henlia Handmade and I are hosting a knit along that is going to start next Thursday. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to hop on here live and talk to you all about it. Laurel says, that's so pretty. I wish I could join. I have a bunch of stuff on the needles right now. Ugh. I'm happy that you have a bunch of stuff going on, and the pattern will be available to purchase too. And Joanna says, my kit shipped today, so I hope it gets here in time. And this is Chris. I says, I am in love with this and I am knitting extra rows to use up my yarn. I love a good project that is adjustable. I love designing my things in a way that whatever amount of yarn you have, you can kind of make the pattern fit to that. So I will always tell you what how much yarn I actually use to knit the sample with the size and all of that you see. But I also like to add in different ways to make it easy for you, simple for you to customize it. So it's a nice rhythmic kind of a pattern. It's got that nice soothing stockinette section. All of the wrong side rows are knit, you're knitting the garter edge and then you are purling all the way across to the other garter edge. So you get a nice break from those lace stitches and it's a lot of fun. I put in to the pattern one of my, I don't know if we'll call them famous, but knitter's favorite um, stitch count tables. And what that means is if you get misplaced in the pattern and you're not sure which row you're working, it is super simple. You can count the number of stitches on your needle and you can track that on the table and see what row you are supposed to be working. And it's also, I'll be totally honest, it is easy to fudge if you are off by a stitch somewhere. And I'm going to share some tips for fudging for fixing, resolving issues within the lace, but also you can just, add an extra stitch in the stockinette and one extra stitch in fingering weight yarn. Nobody will ever know that it's there. That'll be your little secret. That'll be your design element, right? Um, yes, and that was Chris's comment. All right, so Joanne, I hope that your kit arrives. Hopefully it will get there in time. But the knit along is not just one evening. We're going to do a few knit nights on Zoom, and I'll have all of those details for you if you sign up. I will share. So if you go to doublethestitches.com/cglasskal for knit along, there is information. Actually, I will share my screen and show you what you'll find there. Okay, so you are invited to join us for a knitting adventure. And this has all of the details. I'm not going to read the whole page to you, but it is there for you to check out. Let me go like this so you can see what's here. Even better. Okay. So information about what you can expect about the knit along. There is no cost for the knit along. The only thing in order to participate is that you need to have purchased the shawl pattern, the Sea Glass Memories shawl pattern. And you can order a kit from Mindy if she still has any available. She'll ship them out, and it may just take an extra day or two for it to arrive. And also, if you prefer to use yarn from your stash, you can pre-order the pattern from Ravelry, so you'll have all of the details. Like I mentioned, the lace stitches are easy to follow. It's knits, purls, yarn overs, knit two together, slip, slip, knit, and a make one left. So it's fully written. There is a chart for the repeat, so you can pick whichever you prefer to work from. One of my favorite things to suggest if you are not fully comfortable with um, reading charts is to work from a pattern like this where the instructions are fully written and they match the chart. And so you can try your hand at the chart, but have the written instructions as a backup to confirm your thoughts about what you're supposed to do. Let me see if I can just open something and show that to you too. Doo, doo, doo. Okay, so yes, I can show you. Okay, so let me continue on this page and then I'll show you something else. So you can pre-order the pattern on Ravelry. This talks about my inspiration and Mindy's inspiration. So if you want to participate in the knit along, then purchase the pattern. You can buy a kit from Hinley Handmade if you'd like. And then at the bottom of this page is a simple form to sign up so that you make sure that you get the emails, because those are going to have the Zoom links to join us for the knit nights. There's no cost. And here's the FAQ. There is no cost. And talks about the skill level, which is really that we want you to be comfortable with knits, mostly with knits and purls. And this is a pretty simple lace pattern. So we're learning two different decreases, how to make a yarn over, all of that stuff will be there for you. And the kits from Henley Handmade include the pattern, and as far as needles and notions, I knit mine on a US 6. You'll need a darning needle, sewing needle to sew in your ends at the end. 6 stitch markers are recommended, a row counter or scrap paper. The kits from Mindy include shorty row counters from Twice Sheared Sheep, and this is where to find the pattern on Ravelry. So if you scroll down, you will find information here about there's a code right here, so that you can get a discount with the pre-order if you choose. So that is the pattern on Ravelry. And let me pop back in and see if there were any questions. Not yet. Okay, so then I wanted to share this with you too, just to give you kind of an example when I say that the pattern includes a stitch count table. So this walks you through all of the rows of the pattern, and you can mark off if you've done the row, and that will help you keep track, and also the stitch counts for of each of the rows in the pattern. So that is fun, I think. And all of my testers were complimenting, we're so thrilled to have access to that. So that's the Sea Glass Memories Knit Along starting next Thursday. That is September 14th. And again, we'll be at this same time at 8 o'clock Eastern. Trying to find times that work for everyone are hard. The cast on party part will be recorded, and then we'll do some knit night stuff. Anytime that I am teaching something, it will be recorded for you to watch, but anytime where it is just a knit night, which gives us a chance to be really kind of open and honest and connect authentically and share whatever is going on in our lives, those I typically don't record. And so these are some of my testers' beautiful projects. There we go. And I was so excited to share them with you. So they're in all different stages and using all different types of yarn. This was Krista's project, and she's using a sock blank, which is dyed after it is knit into stockinette stitch, and then it's rolled up, and then you unravel from the sock blank to knit. And I thought that was so cool. And this was Shoshana's, I believe, and this is Chris's beautiful shawl. I think she said this will be her Christmas shawl. And we just have so many beautiful projects in the works. There are a few yarn shops too. Whoop, I wasn't up to that yet. There are a few yarn shops that are making samples as well too. I've never heard of that before. Sounds cool. I think that's for the sock blank. Yeah. I hadn't really, I've seen them once or twice online, but wasn't really sure, to be honest, exactly how they worked. And so Krista was telling us about it. So the other thing I wanted to chat with you all about, and I would love your thoughts and your feedback and all of that. Something that I have planned for later on in the fall is sock knitting. And I think it's going to be a 5-day challenge. And I would love to know your thoughts, your experiences about knitting socks. Is it something that you have tried before and loved? Is it something you have tried before and hated? Is it something that you have avoided at all costs because the thought of it terrifies you? I would love to know if it's something that you are excited about, interested in learning. I am planning to do a workshop on socks for my Stitch Society friends, but I would love to know about really everyone's thoughts and experiences with knitting socks. And I am planning something with my dear friend Carrie from The Spinning Hand. And we are going to do socks. We're going to do them together. And we are going to I believe we're going to teach both top down and toe up in two different patterns so that you can take your pick. We're going to do it early enough so that if socks are something you would like to knit as a gift for someone for the holidays, you'll have time to complete, hopefully, to complete your project in time for the holidays. So let me know. I'd love to know your thoughts on socks. Let's talk about it. Let's chat about it. Is it something that you, if it is something that you love to knit, do you have a favorite, you know, a preference from top down or toe up? Do you have a favorite heel that you love? I would love all of your thoughts. So share them with me. You can share them in the chat in the comments. And okay, so we have. That is Shelly says, I have done top down patterns, but often find that getting the fit right to be my biggest problem. So we're going to talk through that too, because it's important to make sure that they fit, because otherwise it is a ton of work for something that is either too small and snug or, too floppy and doesn't quite fit right. And Joanna says, I've only made slipper socks before. And Sonia says, I am very excited to try socks with you. That makes me so happy. I'm excited to do this with you, and I think it's going to be so much fun. Carrie and I were talking about it during our meeting on Wednesday, and we've started to kind of map it all out and plan it all out. But I love getting your feedback and your thoughts and your experiences so that we can try to build this in a way that is helpful and useful to you. So that is the sock question, the big sock question, right? And then just a quick little sneak peek of a couple of patterns that are going to be published soon. And I would love to know which ones you are most excited to get your hands on. So we have this is my sequence hat pattern, and it is knit in DK weight yarn, and it uses a really special technique where you start with ribbing and you change the number of stitches, and it changes the pattern. And we have another thought on socks. I love knitting socks and I like to knit two at a time, toe up, but would like to learn two at a time, top down. Okay. Who is challenging me to teach that? We have Chris. All right. We'll see. Um, so my sequence hat pattern is coming soon, and I just got back my all breeds cowl, which is something special that I designed for Eagle Bend Alpaca Farm in Burlington, Kentucky, and this was featured this summer as part of two yarn crawls that they participated in. It's a little hard maybe to see in the picture, but those are little geometric sheep, and they are absolutely adorable. And so that's going to be released soon too. And that is knit using mosaic knitting. It is knit in the round, so there you don't see the back of the mosaic knitting, and you don't have to carry any yarn. You are just knitting with one strand of yarn at a time. Before I go on to share the rest, I have a Shelly says, I would just like to learn two at a time. And Sonia says, I'd love to do two at a time. That's been my hang up with them in the past. Completing one and then not being done. That's second sock syndrome, Sonia. Sonia says, the sheep are adorable. Reminds me of the Princess Diana black sheep pattern. And Chris says, love them both. The hat is wonderful, and I'm especially fond of the cowl, of course. And Joanna says, nice. All right. So those are two. And then I'm going to be releasing my collection of brioche patterns. And so there are three patterns. They're going to be released together as a collection, but you'll be able to purchase them individually or get a small discount if you purchase the collection. And so there is an ear warmer, there is a cowl, and there is a hat. And the beauty of the ear warmer is that it is brioche, but it's not super scary because it is not that many stitches. So we're not casting on a big, gigantic, loopy cowl. It's a small number of stitches, and there are breaks in between where you are just knitting with one color. Regular knitting. And these were part of my A Taste of Brioche workshop, and those students got access to the patterns as part of the workshop, exclusive access for a little bit, for a few weeks, and then this is going to be released tool soon. And Sonia says, these were so wonderful, and Joanna says, brioche is so cool. And so since they kind of all coordinate and used similar yarn, these were knit with woolstock worsted, which is kind of in between a DK and a worsted weight. And so there is the ear warmer to give you a little bit of a taste. There is the cowl, which is done in the same way that the ear warmer is. So you have breaks in between the brioche. So if you do have to rip your work back, you have kind of a safe space to go back to that's not all brioche stitches. And then there is a hat if you're feeling adventurous. This introduces some brioche increases and decreases. And then the workshop will also be available to purchase so that you can watch the videos on demand. When we initially did the workshop, it was we did it over 7 weeks. And you'll have access also to purchase the workshop, which includes the patterns if you haven't done brioche before or you want to brush up on your brioche. So that is that's what I have to share with you tonight. I am so grateful to all of you who have joined me this evening, and to all of you who are watching on the replay. If you have questions about anything, pop them in. Let me know what you're wondering. And I'll stay on for another minute if anyone has any questions or anything to add or to share. And keep share. Sylvia says, love them all. Keep sharing with me. Keep sharing your projects. For those of you who participated in the Handmade Holiday Challenge, I would love an update from you. I'd love to know how you are doing. I'm going to post a big request for updates in the group soon, but keep sharing your projects. Keep sharing your knitting. I love seeing what you're up to. And I love our group. It is by far my most favorite place on the great big internet. I love how kind we all are to one another. I love that I get to be your yarny friend and I don't have to be your parent. Everyone is so kind and wonderful and respectful, and it just makes me so proud to have this opportunity to get to know you all, and so honored that you spend your time with me, that you trust me with your knitting time or crocheting time. And if you have questions about anything, I am here. And otherwise, I think I'm just gonna let you all go and enjoy the rest of your evening. Oh, and Sonia says, oh my goodness, I'm still working on my sister's sweater shawl. It's turned into a bit of a slog with the super warm weather we suddenly had around here. It is so large and no fun to have on your lap until it cools off again. I know. I will share, I am in the process of designing my first sweater. And so I have been experiencing the same thing. It was not super hot this summer, and now all of a sudden the kids went back to school and it's been like 100 degrees and they've had to cancel the sports practices after school because it's just been way too hot. So I hope it cools down. I cannot wait for sweater weather. I cannot wait to actually enjoy having something big and heavy on my lap. Yeah, it's been wild. I know you're in Ontario. I'm in New York. So I think we're getting somewhat similar heat waves and weather and stuff. And it's not been fun. I'm tired of summer. I want the fall to come. It's my favorite season and I can't wait. And Joanna said the schools around here have had half days all week due to the heat. Yeah, there was it was one of those clickbaity articles or whatever, but it said, our heat days, the new snow days. And it seems like, they might be. Because it's just our schools are not air conditioned for the most part, and you would think that they would be, but they're working on it, and it's I mean, yes, we all lived without it, but why? We also had smoky days. Yeah, those were rough days too. I hope that that's gotten better up by you. We had some of that smoke came down here in New York. Yes, no AC in our school either. It is, there's always the people who say, "Well, we did it, so why are they so why are they complaining so much about the heat?" But we have the technology, is what I say. Although in our case, some of the schools have to have their electricity actually upgraded in order to be able to support the air conditioners. And yes, the weather patterns are definitely changing. That is definitely true. All right. Well, it's been so much fun chatting with you all, and I am around. So reach out to me if you have questions about anything or need anything, and I'll just share those quick links again and then sign off. So, Conquer Cable Knitting, which was a partnership, a collaboration with Crafty Housewife Yarns. If you'd like to learn more about it, you can go to doublethestitches.com/cable challenge. And the Sea Glass Memories knit along starts next Thursday. Doublethestitches.com/sea glass KAL. And that will link you to the pre-order for the pattern and the kits if you'd like to still purchase one. And then join me Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern on Nitty Gritty Yarn Girl's Facebook page or her YouTube channel for her Twisted Stitches show at 8 o'clock on Monday. Thank you all for watching. Have a great evening and a wonderful weekend. Bye.